Hello.
Dr. Ashton, nice to meet you. Welcome. Have a seat.
Thank you.
When were you first diagnosed with MRKH?
When I was 16.
Okay. So what we're going to do now is do a full head-to-toe exam. Externally, everything looks totally normal. Women with MRKH may have not even a dimple there for the vagina. There's really very little vaginal opening there. A typical pelvic exam or GYN exam in a woman with MRKH really has to include a rectal exam because that's often the only way that we can assess the deep pelvis. Okay, so you passed with flying colors. I don't want you to walk around thinking that because you don't have a vagina, you can't have sex. The good news is that you have a clitoris, which is the major sexual organ for women, right?
I guess I really just focused on if I can't do it the traditional way, then I'm not going to bother. And I guess that there's a whole lot of exploring that I can do, so that'll be interesting.
You have an ovary, which makes eggs, okay? So you could be a biological mother. What you can't do is carry that baby, okay?
This part makes me emotional.
That's okay. That's okay. That's normal. Just like we were talking about sex, and I said that we have like this one image of what sex is. A lot of people have one image of what it means to be a mother. But carrying a pregnancy and pushing out a baby does not make someone a mother. So you can have your biological child carried by a surrogate.
Which is really cool.
Better?
Yeah.
Okay. I hope that you leave here feeling more optimistic about your future and your present.
I do. Actually,
Really?
I feel a lot better.
You feel good?
Yeah, you've covered way more than anyone, any other doctor has ever covered with me before. I didn't know half the stuff that you told me.
It was great meeting you.
It was nice to meet you
did
too.
great.
Thank you.
You're gonna do really well.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you for being here, Kristen. And what I absolutely adore about you being here is that you are breaking down barriers by opening up with your story.
And you know, when you talk about MRKH, this is something that affects 1 in about 4,500 women. We don't understand what causes it, but it's a failure of the internal anatomy and in some cases the external opening of the vagina to develop. So if you imagine this stoplight as the normal external female genital anatomy with an opening for the urine at the top called the urethra, the vaginal opening in the middle, and then the rectum at the bottom, women with MRKH can literally have nothing in between the urethra and the rectum. So they don't have a vaginal opening. Some may have a dimple or a tiny little blind pouch in the vagina, but some have nothing. And then, because the vagina embryologically develops into the uterus, they don't have a uterus. So ovaries normally are there, but this is no vagina or partial vagina missing and no uterus. And I want to take you guys to the inside view because we actually sent Kristen to Olympic Radiology for a pelvic MRI. And this is a normal view. This is not Kristen. This is not a woman with MRKH. But what you see when you look from the side, rectum in the back, vagina, cervix, and uterus in the middle. It's like a uterus sandwich, and the bladder in the front, okay? Now, women with MRKH, if you look here, and this is actually Kristen's scan, again, normal. Here, what you see, rectum, bladder, nothing in the middle. This is what we call rudimentary. So there's a smidgen of it there. It's almost like it started to develop in utero, but then everything stopped.
Thank you for that explanation.
Thanks for that explanation. And Dr. Ashton, just to take it one step further, on our CT scan, it looks like there is a small canal there. Does that mean that she's potentially a surgical candidate?
Well, you know what? There's surgical treatments, and then there's dilators, which are also can be very, very safe, very effective, and can open up that vaginal pouch if a tiny one exists, but it doesn't always exist.